Hello and welcome to my review of the Chaos Space Marines Possessed for Warhammer 40,000 from Games Workshop. This set of 5 miniatures will cost you £35, and I actually think that that's not too bad for this set. Considering it consists of 56 plastic components and ensures that no two models are the same, because there are a few, dare I say it, spare parts with this kit. I think this is the only set out of the 4 that will give you spare parts of the new Chaos Space Marines sets. You've got these Possessed, you've got the Accursed Cultists, which I actually thought there'd be loads of spare parts. The Dark Commune, I understand why there isn't for those, but then the Chaos Cultist box set themselves, there should have been a load of spare parts, but yeah, unfortunately there wasn't. So it's kind of okay then that the coolest, best looking miniatures in the set have options. That's fine, but of course I would have preferred all 4 sets having some options at least. Anyway, this review is a long time coming. I can give you many excuses, but the one excuse I can never give you is that I decided to have a break and not release any content. I've still released daily content over these past 3 or 4 weeks that these have been out, and things have gotten in the way. Games Workshop have released new things, Forge World have released new things, the Emperor's Champion models, I wanted to give you unboxing some first looks at those. The Warhammer Imperium subscription I wanted to, and I also wanted to give you first looks at reviews of the new Emperor's Champion and the Warhammer Plus models. So that's why these have been on a bit of a back burner, because there's only 4 new sets and the new codex for Chaos Space Marines, and I think it's been quite a lackluster release, if I'm perfectly honest. There won't be an end of new release review. I just think they've all been quite lackluster, apart from this set, so there won't be that like big review I have at the end of like a refresh, or a review just showcasing the new miniatures for Chaos Space Marines. I really think that they should have released that new Demon Prince with this release and a few other things, and you know, change a couple of the sets around rather than remove some out of the codex, which is a bit naughty. So anyway, these are the Possessed. For a long time I've thought about having Possessed in the Chaos Space Marines force, mainly because of how cool the Greater Possessed models were. We'll go through lots of size comparisons today, don't you worry. But I really liked the look of the Greater Possessed, and I just wish that there were more in the new codex. They're no longer available, the Greater Possessed. You've just got Possessed Chaos Space Marines, which is what it is. So that's why, understandably, people have flocked away from the old, very old plastic Possessed Space Marine kit and moved over to Forge World and just picked up a set of 5 Gal Vorbak, which is understandable if you can deal with the higher price. You know, a set of 5 now is £61.50, and I think that is quite expensive, but that was kind of one of the best ways of having some Possessed that were of a similar size. We'll go through that a little bit later on. You know, and actually fit quite well in 40k too, as stand-ins for Possessed and Greater Possessed. So for Possessed, and the same with the 2 Blade Guard that come with Zardu Layak. Anyway, let's have a look at these miniatures first of all. So this is the stages of the review. We'll look at these miniatures up close, then we'll move on to the spare parts, which you do get some. We'll go through those size comparisons with other, I say, Possessed models. I've got quite an exhaustive list here, and then finally we'll go through all of their new rules in the Chaos Space Marine Codex. So straight away then, let's have a look at this Possessed, this kind of Possessed Champion, they call him. He's on the same size base as the other Possessed, but is got a little bit of a tactical rock going on there. He's really cool. He's got this blade on his gauntlet. He's got this bony growth that's ripped out of his hand, which also has claws. Very, very cool. You know, got some bones there. He's got this chain sword that's also a blade. His helmet's pretty cool. You can mix and match all the helmets and things, guys. You've got this shoulder pauldron with another bony growth, I think it is, and horf and cloved feet as well, which kind of promotes this, you know, movement of 9 inches. They're pretty fast, these guys. The power plants are always one of the most interesting things I find for anything warp infused or powered, because they're just sort of stretched and elongated, and yeah. So that's the Possessed Champion. You've then got this one. I've kind of gone for a theme, so I've tried to pick the heads that work best with the, I say, appendages or growths. Even this Possessed has got a bit of a scenic base, which is quite rare really to have other miniatures in a unit with more than one scenic base. But yeah, you've got this power plant, and you've got all these kind of insectoid type claws and legs, I guess they are, coming out. This one would look quite good in a Death Guard army as Possessed. You've got this one here, which you know, the awesome looking axe that's held on by this thick muscly arm and hand is kind of overshadowed by this kind of 3-claw hand going on. Got a little bit of a stubby tail, got the clove feet. I like the sense of movement for this one though, you know, as it's just about to grab that Imperial Guardsman fleeing or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I like the sense of movement with that one. Then we've got this one here, this sword that's just erupted out of his fist there, and of course the gauntlet has got like a little mouth there too. You know, why do you need to pick up things with your hands and put them in your mouth to eat when you can just, you know, cut out the middleman and just eat them from your hand? You've got his helmet, which is very evil looking. You've got this pincer claw. I'll probably say this one is more, especially with the tail as well. This one is kind of like changeling. Probably go for Tzeentch for this one, if it had a power. And you know, you've got this like tail that's holding onto like a knife. I think that's quite cool. That was a bit tricky to glue, actually, that one. And then finally we've got this Marauder type one with this evil looking helmet and mouthpiece with loads of teeth. You've got this arm that is turned into a blade like Resident Evil or something, and then this right arm with huge scythe claws on there. And instead of hooves, this one has some claws on his feet, and so does the other one actually, from before. I'd probably say this one is more akin to Khorne because of all the horns and things, and the chains and the skulls. But you know, you can obviously paint them whichever legion you wish. They've painted them as the Undivided Black Legion there. But they're going to look great in Wordbearer's colours. I think there's even a picture of them in the codex with those Wordbearer's colours. Okay, so spare parts, here we go. So they're right here. Firstly, let's have a look at all of these appendages. So you get this kind of fly type claw appendage with some hairs on. You've got this kind of tentacle type one, a fair bit of detail on that tentacle, and it's got spikes on the tentacle. You've got this one, which has got some tentacles, and then it's like a mace at the end of the arm. You've got this one, which is again a bit like Tzeentch, like some crab claws or whatnot. That's it for the arms, I think, because I think, yeah, you also get a nice like scenic base kind of thing going on. With this Primaris Space Marine, which I didn't use this one because the option was for the basically the Possessed to be holding the head of the Space Marine. Look right there. There's the hand and things. Like it's ripped off the part of the helmet off him. So yeah, I didn't go for that one, but yeah, you can. That's actually quite a cool little objective marker or something. You put that on a, I'd probably say 40mm base, and that would work quite well. as like a downed Primaris that you have to recover the gene seed from. I'm giving everyone ideas now. And then you've got this extra type spike thing, which I didn't use anywhere, I don't think. And then you've got 3 spare heads. I say 3. This one just goes on the front of one of them. And then I think the tongue just comes out of that. It's a very Slanesh type head. Then you've got a kind of Nurgle type head. Hopefully you can see these guys. With this mask type thing and a long tongue. And then you've got this kind of corn sort of head. That's pretty cool. Reminds me of Doom, that one. So yeah, they're the spare parts. So it's actually nice to get some spare parts with the kit. So yeah, if you were going to get a second set, all the legs and things are going to look the same, but at least the heads and some of the arms, you know, and you can move the shoulder pauldrons around as well, will be different. So yeah, that's brilliant. It's nice to see that in a kit. Okay then, so size comparisons. Let's just go straight in there with, you know, possessed equivalent, shall I say. So we've got a slave. So we've got a blade slave right here. I will say blade slaves and the Gal Vorbak and these are all very similar size. You could proxy all of them no problem if you can get away from the word bearers kind of iconography. But if you've got word bearers already in Horus Heresy, then yeah, you can throw these in absolutely fine. But you can just see the detail. There's so much more detail on these resin miniatures. Hopefully you're picking this up in the 4K, but there's more depth, there's more detail, there's just a lot more going on. But yeah, fantastic. So that's a blade slave. Then you've got one of the Gal Vorbak itself right here. Similar sort of size, similar size to these possessed. You know, actually the Gal Vorbak's a little bit taller, just a tiny bit though, but if you mix them in with them, absolutely fine. You know, I really like the synergy of all these. And then finally, the big possessed chappie himself, Argyll Tal, right here. He is bigger than the possessed champion by a fair amount, but if you wanted to proxy him as a champion, that would look pretty cool, and just have a massive swarm of Gal Vorbak and these chosen, maybe even pick up a second set of these chosen. That would look so cool, having this kind of force. And you could probably, if your opponent let you, proxy the plastic possessed as Gal Vorbak as well. You know, if you're playing against me, I'd let you do that. But yeah. So there you go. That's then compared to the sort of possessed equivalents. I want to compare them to another unit that will be coming to the channel as review soon, and that's the Accursed Cultists. So this is one of the Accursed Cultists. On the box and the art and things, these look bigger than they are, but actually they're the same size base as the possessed. And here's one of the other like little Accursed Cultists as well. And the Dark Commune, that's how big they are, and then just a normal cultist too. So the normal cultists are dwarfed by these big chosen. These chosen are the biggest models in these sort of 4 new Chaos Space Marine sets. But I thought that would be a decent comparison with them, with the new models at least. And finally, as a little bonus, I've got a couple more comparisons to make. So this is a greater possessed that was in the Vigilus box set, and as you can see, same size as possessed now. So I can see why they did away with the greater possessed. You've got a normal Chaos Space Marine, so absolutely dwarfs them. You've got a Terminator. This is cheating really with the Chaos Space Marine Terminator. This is probably the one that you're used to, and they do give Terminators a run for the money. They're, you know, not as bulky, but it's very close to being bulky than the Terminators. There's just a lot more going on, and their poses are more dynamic, I think, than the Terminators. So that's where the Chosen stand with all of those. And the final comparisons I always like to make is just with some Imperium models. So we've got Chaos Space Marine, which is horrendously dwarfed by Chosen. Primaris though, does give him a bit of run for his money. Not quite as tall as the Chosen, So yeah, if you're going up against Primaris, these guys are going to be taller, and then you've got Sly Marbo there as well. So yeah, definitely a big imposing unit, and has all the detail there as well. That's fantastic. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Chaos Space Marines Possessed. They are an elite choice. There's a lot of elite choices now in the Chaos Space Marines army. You've got everything from your typical Chaos Terminator squad to your Chosen, your Hell Brutes, your Noise Marines for some reason, and your Master of Executions. So they're a bit contested. But I think they certainly offer you great value in terms of points over Terminators if you didn't want anything shooty with them, and then you were mainly focused on melee. So they are a power points cost of a 7 and a points cost of 28 points per model. It's an extra 5 points to take an icon. The unit consists of 4 to 9 possessed with 1 champion, so you can run them in a unit of 10, which is pretty naughty for your 280 points, so it's going to cost you a fair bit to do that, but still cheaper than 10 Chaos Terminators. So what do you get for all these points then? Well, you get a movement speed of 9 inches, almost double that of Terminators. You get a weapon skill and ballistic skill both of 3+, strength 5, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, and a save of 3+. So your strength and toughness and number of attacks are all your movement, your strength, your toughness, and your number of attacks are all better than a Chaos Terminator, but Chaos Terminator does get that nice juicy 2+ save, but it's somewhat negated with that toughness 5 that Possessed have. They're equipped with hideous mutations. That's it. That's all they're equipped with. Hideous mutations. They're a strength of the user, which is 5, so not the best. AP is -2, again not the best, and then damage 2. So where your bonus is there is at killing things with 4+ save, or knocking out those 5 attacks each. These things are kicking out 25 attacks at 3+, and most potentially wounded on 2s, and usually wounding on 3+s on Marine equivalents. They can take a Chaos Icon. The Possessed Champion gains an extra attack, and that's it. So just gets 6 attacks. Another warrior item that they can use is a Chaos Icon, and the bearer's unit gains the icon keyword. Each time a combat attrition test is taken for the bearer's unit, add 1 to that combat attrition test. The abilities: Let the Galaxy Burn. Demonkin models in this unit have a 5+ invulnerable save, so that's not too bad. 3+ normal, 5+ invulnerable, so they get the same invulnerable save as the Terminators. Fearsome Aura: While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this unit, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic of models in that unit. Keywords: Chaos, Heretic Astartes, Traitoris Astartes, Infantry, Demon, Demon King, and Possessed. So there you go. I'd kind of just wish that they'd have an extra ability, like one final ability that either boosts their strength or their AP, or I don't know, just something extra to make them a bit more juicier. Yeah, the movement speed is great, and the number of attacks that they can push out is awesome, is also brilliant, and they're relatively good points cost for what you're getting. It's just they've got no range weaponry at all. Can you put them in a vehicle as well, being demons? I'm not quite sure about that, but even if you did, their movement speed is pretty fast anyway. You probably want to protect them though, and that's what it boils down to, is their weaknesses is they have no range weapons, and they can't take those esoteric weapons that like the Chosen and Terminators can for melee, like the Power Fists and the Accursed weapons and things. So yeah, what do you guys think of the Possessed? From a model point of view, I think they're fantastic. They really look the part, and they are the strongest models in this new Chaos Space Marine. They definitely offer the most, and I think that for the £35, people now have got a good Chaos Space Marine Possessed box set to pick up. and to add to their armies. But please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Death to the False Emperor.